Pash. Hey. The wrong stream.
You can still talk? What do you mean, are we live? Hello and a warm welcome here live to Formula Sim Racing. It's round 11. Singapore is ready to be raced, and we already had the ace category yesterday. Of course, now is the time for our guys in Pro to show them what they're worth. Jeroen Kwekel obviously has shown already what he's worth this year. Already cleansed up the championship, and what a champion he is. Already signed a contract for next year in WC, so it's nice to still see him back on track next year, but in a little bit of a higher competition, I assume, or I'm sure. Let's see now. We have basically the usual suspects here today. A few names that are new to me at least, like Felix van Delft and Dave Paling. Two new names for me at least. Looking at the timesheet, we also see Jacques Wengler, or how the French would say Jacques Wengler, no? Being back on track, and what a pace he is setting, 39.6 at the moment. Untouchable for others, 8/10 of a gap between him and Craig Baxter, but of course Jeroen Kwekel still has to set a lap. Joked earlier with Jeroen, like, I asked him, you have to start last, are you going to start last, and you know, give us commentators a field day here today with overtaking maneuvers, but you know, the true competitor never wants to start last, except that, you know, one guy who qualified P7 and started from the pit lane. Having that said, it's going to be interesting to see who will make the cut into Q2 and who won't. Momentarily we are obviously in Q1, a lot of guys on track on this small but long in time in terms of duration circuit in the beautiful Singapore. Don't know if anyone has visited it, but you know, I'm not really a big fan of Asia. Also not the circuits there, but having that said, either you like street circuits or you don't. Jacques Wengler still in P1, but Adrian Falcon is catching up to him with a 39.9, so only 3.5 tenths between him and Jacques. Craig Baxter behind that, Christopher Schroer, who is making his appearance yet again, which is nice to see. Always a fast, known guy in Pro, just has to, you know, get his breakthrough. He's already won a race this year. He's already proven himself to be amongst, you know, the top competitors in Pro. But to yet make it like his teammate Jeroen Kwekel, still has to kick it up a notch. But you know, being as fast as Kwekel is something, you know, that comes with talent as well. And, we are competing on the highest level here. So let's see on the timing sheets what's gonna happen. Still only 12 guys 6 minutes into the session with a lap time. So a lot of these guys are still in the pit. We have some guys with the back of the grids as well, like Sander Callas, Bufumu, Andrea Racconi, Dimitri Zarov and Jonathan Etier, who are all starting from back of the grid or either in the pit. I don't know the severity of the penalties. And as I'm blathering on, Jeroen Kwekel has set himself onto the first spot with a 39.573, half a tenth faster than Jacques Wengler. But yeah, it's nice to see him fight a little bit for his money. So still Andrea Kanata, Eugene from Loganberg, Felix van Delft, Pascal Chapon, all without a lap time. As the circuit is bone dry. Eugene from Loganberg crossing the start finish line right now. He puts in at 42.2 onto the board. Gets him into Q2 for the moment, but still a lot of drivers that are going to beat that time. Mark my words. I'm sure Dewald now can do a better job than P11 at the moment. 42.3 for him. He's in the flyer right now, coming along to the last turn of this track, which is really tricky on racing conditions, but almost flat with a little bit of a lift in qualifying conditions. And Dewald now exactly does what I have foretold. Puts his car into P7, 41.1 dead for him. A nice job. From the front of the back, it's basically Jeroen Kwekel and Jacques Wengler who are setting the pace, and let's see if Jacques can improve on his time. And he indeed is so. Jacques Wengler obviously has had a little bit of controversy on his head and on his plate after Silverstone, where he was accused of cheating, but nobody could find real evidence for it. And we have an American precedent, but not an American justice system here. You're guilty when the evidence has been found. It hasn't been found, so he is here to fight another day. Not saying that this 38.9 is suspicious, but it's suspiciously fast for these guys in Pro. But I've talked a little bit with Jacques last few weeks, and he guaranteed me he wasn't cheating. So let's see, time will tell. But for the moment, he is in P1 with 6/10, with a lead of 6/10 between him and Quaco. I'm sure Quaco's not showing the back of his tongue. He hasn't done that the entire season. Always does a reasonable Q1 lap, and then when Q2 is starting, he's just on top of his game. Let's see now though. Other people can't really match those guys at the front, but fine. Nice to see David Cook in P6 once more. Really the usual suspects into the quality of the Q2 positions at the moment, except for Dave Paling and Felix van Delft. Who are doing a tremendously good job on P9 and P10, obviously aiming for that Q2 spot. Also helps for them that there are a lot of fast guys and regular customers of Q2 like Sander Callas, Christian Bufumu, who are not participating in this session. But it's a long race. It's Singapore, one of the longest races of the season. We didn't do Monaco, but this is definitely fine enough for me at least. In terms of street circuits. We obviously don't have the same problems as a real Formula 1 driver with the heat, but it is long and concentration may be a factor during the later stages of the race. Well, Felix van Delft crosses the start-finish line to give it another go. He's the last guy to go, and well, basically there are a few guys left on track, but not as many that can get a better timing position. Eugene from Logenberg on P11, giving it every inch of the way on the steering wheel, but he needs to find almost half a second in order to push Felix van Delft up to P11. Henry Harrington is still able to do it. Pascal Chapon as well, but he spins into the wall, unfortunate for him. Nobody really got caught up into that. Well, Eugene from Logenberg, is he going to do it here? Needs a half a second, and he is going to do it. Wow, stunning lap from him in terms of 1 second he gets off his own time. Now it's the pressure is on Felix van Delft, who is now in P11, and he needs half a second in order to push Eugene out of it. So it's gonna be tight. Tight indeed. Schroer and Baxter also still on the lap, but those guys are secured of a Q2 spot. So it's basically wait and see for Felix van Delft if he is going to make it in his bright red car. See, 1 sector to go, only a few more corners. Can he do it though? Eugene from Logenberg is on the top of his chair, I can imagine. So he crosses start-finish line. Felix van Delft, and he is not doing it. He did get a personal best there, but it wasn't enough. So we have our top 10 contenders. It's Jacques Swingler, Jeroen Kwekel, Adrian Falcon, Craig Baxter, Christoph Schroer, David Cook, Samuel Carpenter, De Waldnell, Dave Paling, and Eugene from Logenberg. So as we get our Q2 guys in there, it's interesting to see what's going to happen now. I mean, we're all knowing what's going to happen. Everyone will have 5 minutes of Q2. Everyone gets one flying lap. But who is going to set pole position here? I think Jack Swangler, if he delivers a perfect lap, then he can get challenge for pole position. Because that 39.1 that Jeroen Kwekel has, it is 2.5 tenths slower than Jack's. But, he's not showing the back of his tongue. I can guarantee you that Jeroen can do a 38. And basically, after that, the rest is just, there to pick up the scraps, basically, without causing any disrespect of some sort. But Jong and Jax are just in another dimension. So who is gonna bite off the head of this session? And it is Christoph Schroer, showing he's confident enough to take it out onto the track. Schroer always known as a qualifying beast, at least that was last year. Talking about a slow pit exit. I think the race directors will have a really hard job watching the race replays after the race and just, you know, figuring out who cut the pit exit line, since it's so tiny and small. It's easy to make a little bit of a mistake and touch it. But yeah, well, let's see. So Schroer now getting, you know, a little bit under pressure by David Cook here, who is a little bit more hastier than Schroer is, and tries to make a dash up to the finish line. But I hope Schroer doesn't have a problem, because he's really coasting in second gear all the time. It's just another warm-up strategy, but this way there is not much warming up he is doing. Just cooling down his brakes even further, but yeah. He knows what he is doing, I'm sure. But David Cook weaving along in sector 2. The avid chronic racing car. Hopefully he's not gonna start from the pit this time, even if he puts a P5 on the board. I mean, Singapore is a really tricky turn 1, but it's not as tricky as Monza, for instance. You have run-up areas, you have plenty of space to you know, correct a little bit of over-optimism or anything like that. For the moment though, it's David Cook who is setting a flyer. He's going into the flying lap right now. Let's see how he approaches turn 1. Nice dash. Has to keep the balance here. Easy on the throttle, a little bit of a short shift there, but didn't lose any time. Now the most important corner of the track. He has a little bit of a wiggle on the steering wheel. Didn't lose him too much though. Clean and steady over the curbs. Keeping it tight and steady. I mean, it's better to do a reasonable lap than, you know, mess it all up in the last corner or, you know, something like that. But yeah, as long as he can get a good grid position, I'm sure he won't start out of the pits like last time. Here that cheeky chicane coming over the bridge. And here he cuts that corner brilliantly. Really on the throttle. Can he deliver? Behind that, Christoph Schroer is showing some immense space. Has a little bit of a drift before the bridge there, but nothing too worried. And I hear someone has collided onto the wall. Don't know who it was for now, it doesn't matter anyway. David Cook having a troubling sector 3 here. But here he comes. Here's the benchmark for everyone else. And I don't think he will be really happy with this lap, but you know, it's something. 41.130. Ooh, that's relatively slow indeed. Samuel Carpenter instantly dives underneath that with a 40.721, but that's not going to be enough for pole position, I can guarantee you. So now it's the turn of Craig Baxter. Let's see what he does. Oh, we reported Christoph Schroer with a 40.5. Good job from him, but will it stand? Craig Baxter defeats that with only 13 thousandths of a second. Absolutely amazing job. Dave Paling coming on the start-finish straight. What can he show? It's a 42.2, disappointing for him. Now we're picking up, who is it? I think Eugene from Loggerberg, here he comes. Can he surprise us all? He can not. 42.9 for him, terrible lap. Now let's see, Adrian Falcon next to cross the start finish line. Can he take pole position away from Craig Baxter? The answer on that question is yes! 40.0, so the bar is getting raised substantially. Jeroen Kwekel having a troubling last sector, but first it's the wall Nel, who is putting himself on P7. But what is Jeroen Kwekel doing? He puts himself into P1, 39.0, so that's another 38. Will Jax Wengler capitalize on that? Is this going to be pole position for Jax? It's not! He made a mistake in the earlier sectors. Obviously we're driving with Park Fairmay on again. So also for the brakes they at least have duct 2 or 3, maybe even a radiator size 2. So no surprises there with the time slowing a little bit down. But Jeroen Kwekel having enough on a 39.0. Jax Wengler half a second behind that in P2, and Adrian Falcon half a second behind that in P3. And big margins though. Between Kwekel, Wengler, Falcon and Baxter is 1.5 seconds combined by separated by 5/10 each. But all in all, exciting Q2 there. No surprises that Jeroen takes pole position, but for a little bit of momentum there, I would have hoped for Jax Wengler to come and spoil the day for Jeroen at least. I mean, we want to see an awesome fight, awesome racing, but I don't think Jeroen will do a Vettel and just cruise away from the rest of the pack if Jax has a good start and if he can get away properly. So let's see now. I don't know for sure if we are going to the commercials. Do we have commercials, Pashalis, our broadcaster for today? We don't have commercials, he says. Well, then I just advise you to get to the nearest Thrustmaster store and then buy a Thrustmaster product right now, because that's the reason we get the sponsoring money. That's the reason why every WC driver earns €2.5 a point, except if you have a greedy team boss and he collects it all. But it's all fine. But obviously Thrustmaster Formula Sim Racing World Championship will start later. But at the moment all eyes are on Pro. What a race it's going to be. These Pro guys have to keep it relatively safe into the first bends. Obviously the track is not that wide and people can get collected and might send chaos all over especially if you spin in turn 2. On the racing line. But for now it's warm up and we will see who has the best race pace. Jeroen Kwekel messaging me that he is not really that satisfied with his lap. Well, enough for pole position by a big margin. I'm sure Jax Wengler will say the same about his lap. It would be really exciting for the win if Jeroen Kwekel and Jax Wengler are just crashing each other off turn 1, and leave the fighting up for the rest, and finally someone else than Jeroen Kwekel can get a win in. Obviously we had Schroer, we had Michele Di Alessandro, who after 6 races finally won the first race that Jeroen didn't win, which was race number 7, and the dominance of Kwekel is just untouchable basically. So it's going to be a long race, even for the people in Pro. It's still going to be lap times that are like 1:45, I think. Don't know for sure how many liters these guys are packing. I think like 1:30, 1:35. But the ducts are putting a huge factor here as well, since the temperature digitally, of course, it's still hot on the track, and the brakes are still overheating because they don't have really any cooling momentum. There are not really that many straights here. But let's see how these drivers are handling it. Adrian Falcon practicing his starting procedure. A little bit of a wheel spin there, using the traction control override. No lap times on the board just yet. We still have to wait 2 more minutes for that. But it might be the case that some drivers just, tested qualify way more, or just, had a way better preparation in qualify than they will do for the race. So it might be the case that people in the race are a little bit faster than they've shown in quali. It's all a matter of time. My advice is, well, get your popcorn, get your drinks. Turn 1 here will be a mayhem. I'm not hoping for a big carnage crash or whatever, but it's going to be an epic race. I guarantee it. Not really a lot of room for overtake. I think the DRS is definitely helping in sector 1, and the straight is long enough. You just need top speed and the momentum. But there's also plenty of room to push each other in a mistake. I mean, in tight sections, especially during the bridge section, it's too wide. We have seen Senna with Massa colliding there some years ago in 2012 even. Makes me feel pretty old thinking about it already 3 years ago. But yeah, that was an epic crash as well. And obviously we, or some of us have seen the crash in Suzuka of Daniel Kvyat. I mean, that was just absurd, getting onto the grass with the steering in point. It was really something you don't see every day. And like Martin Brundle said as well, he should be getting a little bit worried, or at least watch over his shoulder, because there's a young Dutch guy and a young Spanish guy in the name of Verstappen and Carlos Sainz, who are eager to take that spot with Red Bull Racing. And well, there's definitely a difference in performance between Ricciardo and Kvyat, if you ask me. But that crash in Suzuka was just completely wrote off the car. It was insane. Amateuristic mistakes, but we're all human. We all make mistakes from time to time. Some a little bit more than others, like I do, for instance, compared to Pashalis, right? But it's all good there. So a few more minutes till the racing is getting underway, and I am getting really tensed up. Jax Wengler is actually doing a 42.9 with apparently race fuel. So he is as fast as some were in Q2 with his race fuel. Let's see how this will unfold though. And also the other drivers that have to start from back of the grid, for instance Christian Bukumu and Sander Callas as well. Gonna be something. Callas is showing that he has relatively nice pace compared to the guys among him. Seems like Jax Wengler with his 42.9 is really into the zone. Wakel doing a 43.9. Let's see. And Henry Harmson following in P3 at the moment. He didn't have a good qualify, didn't even get into Q2, but he is showing to have a really nice race pace compared to the other guys. Qualify is really important here on this circuit. You don't really have the space to overtake, like I said earlier. You can't really get into a draft. The dirty air is killing you and killing your tires as well, and your brakes especially with the dirty hot air. So and the smog, of course, that hangs over Singapore, right? Like Beijing all over. It's gonna be okay for these guys. I mean, everyone is in their most relaxing home seat on their rig, and just driving it up, maybe with a cool, refreshing sip of water during a pit stop. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how these drivers will manage the duration of the race. Certainly in WC, because in WC we're looking for a race of certainly 2 hours. It's certainly 1 minute 50 or 1 hour 50. So you have to keep your head cool, almost literally. And it's gonna be a lot of concentration that will be necessary in order to keep your head cool and not make that one mistake and doing a Chris de Jong or Alexander Rossi in the tunnel. It's going to be a race not only by speed but also in terms of concentration. And I'm really curious to see who will get the best of it. Jonny Simon isn't here for, I think, that exact same reason. He didn't bother to commentate this today because he wanted to have as much time as he could get practicing in this Singapore state. And as we go on board with Sander Callas, you just press replay. It's epic. He's trying a move on Jonathan Etier, and Jonathan Etier just steered in like there wasn't a Sander Callas in between. Here they are on the straight. Sander Callas opening the DRS, just practicing a little bit of a move. So he's alongside, he brakes alongside, and Jonathan Etier just steers in like, you know, is there a car there? What's that car doing there? Well, we are racing, Jonathan, and you have to open your eyes, because if that happens during the race, I'm sure Sander Callas will go like Joe Pesci mad right there. But that's online racing. Can't, you know, kick the guy's head in. And we don't need that as well, by the way. It's for NASCAR drivers to do. You know, we in Formula One have a little bit of a higher intellect, at least some. Oh, and Pashalis Gergis is asking for credits for the camera, so please go to the forum, go to Formula Sim Racing and spam the inbox of Pashalis Gergis with thanks for doing the cameras here. We all love you and your country. So I hope those are plenty enough credits for him. No, but it's really nice that we have a dedicated FSR Media Group team that is able to provide the articles, provide the interviews with the people that matter. And you know, that work everything out. So the time has come, and David O'Reilly is doing a pit lane start. Right, well, no surprises there. And Mike Partington, as the race director, is just advising the guys in the pit lane. He's literally saying, quote, "Pit lane starters, wait for me to say go. Do not go on green light." Seems there's a little bit of a malfunctioning there. We just need a Kimi Raikkonen there, like in Canada, you know, supervising the pit light. So Jeroen Kwekel in pole position on the right side of the track, and a Jacques Wengler next to him. It's gonna be a two-horse race for these guys, I assume, considering the qualified times, considering the warm-up times, considering the the entire impressions I get from these two drivers. Hopefully they will deliver us a battle like Mercedes did in Bahrain 2014. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see who will do what, and also in strategy terms. I mean, we have seen in Ace yesterday there were like people with a 4-stop. And I believe there were 1 or 2 guys with a 3-stop as well. I assume people are going for a 3-stop here, but you know, it's 37 laps. Anything can happen. A little bit of a flat spot on the tire, and your stint might be ruined as well. It's all about handling and all about concentration here. 37 laps, most laps in the championship for these guys in pro. Later today we obviously have the 100% distance with the WC drivers, and we also have Morgan Morant, yes, you hear that correctly, Morgan Morant joining us once more in Formula Sim Racing to show what racing is all about, and that's hopefully having battles you know, with the Peter Briljak and Mohamed Patel, and just, you know, crashing them for once this season, but it's gonna be hard. For now though, Pro is getting underway. We are on the warm-up lap, and what a start it's going to be. I'm already happy Jacques Wengler is here again, because imagine if he wasn't here, you know. It would be Kwekel in like Vettel in 2011. It would be nice to watch at, to look at. So your last chance to make a pit stop yourself by going to the bathroom or going to the refrigerator or whatever. This will be an epic start right here. Jeroen Kwekel lining up his car, doing a little bit of a burnout to get that rear heated up properly, and he is stationary on the grid. Whilst he is stationary, last guy Jonathan Etier comes on to the straight right now. Here we go. We are now waiting for the lights to come on, of course. It's Sunday the 27th of September and we are racing. Here we go. Jeroen Kwekel with a decent start. Jax Wengler can follow though and he instantly cuts across. And Welcome behind that, showing that he's superb. They make contact though. Jeroen Kwekel and Wengler are making contact. Jeroen takes that place back though. And relatively safe in the back of the field. A little bit of a contact issues there between them, between some drivers, but everyone has made it through the first couple of corners. They finally is on. There's a major crash. There is a major crash, and there's carnage all over the track. And I don't know what happened there. I don't know if we can go on board with Dave Paling. He just goes into turn 3, but there was already a crash in front of him. This is just maddening. This is just maddening. It was Samuel Carpenter causing it all. And he is still driving without a front wing. Well, that's a lot of chaos right there. And Wengler now finds himself into P2. Jeroen Kwekel still on the lead. Let's see now. Because he did get touched off the track by Wengler a little bit there. He doesn't have a stop and go penalty, which is nice. But what a start of this race. Hopefully the debris has been cleared. Normally it takes another lap, but you know, we're driving with a new rFactor 2 build, so let's hope for the best of these guys. Craig Baxter finds himself into P3. Good job from him. Adrian Falcon P4. Christopher Schroer didn't change from P5, who are holding on to their sides of the gearbox of Wengler. But he's already out of DRS range, and in 2 laps time I'm sure Kwekel and Wengler are well gone from the side of Craig Baxter. Let's see with Jeroen Kwekel, is there still debris laying down into turn 4? Hopefully for him there isn't. I still remember David Greco in Italy 2014 getting robbed by a win just because there's a piece of cardboard on the track. So Dewald Nel has made it back into the pit after his disastrous start. So is Dmitry Zarov and Carpenter. They're fouling as well, and Kanata is just driving with broken suspension. He's getting back to the pit. So there's 5 guys into the pit after lap 1. It had everything to do with the accident that took place in turn 4. And that's the thing. If one guy makes contact and gets his car horizontally, you know, one collides and it's just a domino effect. And some drives are just a passenger along the way. I mean, these things unfortunately happen, but we have to give each other the space we all need, and you know, it's interesting to see where this will go for the guys with damage and for the guys who don't have damage. I mean, because there are a little bit of front runners or mid-pack runners out of the race already. They can obviously take advantage of that. Michailo Vicentevich is spending an open session, tries to join the race, a little bit late there though, Michailo. Unlucky for you. Oh, and Jax Wengler spins! Jax Wengler's horizontal, tries to turn the car with a 360 and does so with style. Fabulous 360 from him, but he just goes under the bridge. And he loses it onto the curb in the second last corner there. And he has to start over now on P5. And obviously heavy burned tires, because that burnout definitely did a number on him. Felix van Delft is into the pit with a crooked suspension, unfortunately for him. Getting caught up in the starting crash, I believe. But he cannot fix suspension damage, so it might be the best thing for him to retire, which is really unfortunate. He was doing so great. And I hear more people crash. Wow, who was that? It was Dewald Nel, already having a broken car, and he decides it quits. Unfortunate for him, showed a lot of potential as well. So now in the front, it actually has become a one-horse race. It's Jeroen Kwekel with a 4-second lead after 2 laps. But Jax Wengler now, I don't think he has damage or anything, but he is in P5. 6.5 seconds behind the leader of this race. And Pascal Chapon has called it quits as well. Crash escape after contact with the barrier doesn't really matter. What does matter is if Jack Wengler can clear these guys in front of him. David O'Reilly has called it quits as well. He has been in intimate contact with him and his Avatronic Racing Speed teammate. What happened there? For crying out loud. David O'Reilly just hitting the back of his teammate, but who was braking constantly. What is happening with Avatronic Racing? That was an immensely stupid move, sorry to say, but you know, it's not the first time we've seen it between those two. In Austria it was the same thing, you know, but yeah, maybe there's a little bit of talking to do, chatter up. Now though, let's go on board with Jack Wengler, who is taking a peek into the gap of Christoph Schauer, but the gap is just not, you know, he's not close enough to capitalize on that. Christoph Schauer knows it, leaves the door wide open, but Jax has to, you know, wait another lap, because that's how it goes here. Except if you spin off like Jax did a lap earlier. And he is now a victim of the dirty air, and you see, even if with Supreme Racing Pace, Jax has an immense troubling situation right here by getting past Christoph Schauer alone. And Adrian Falcon and Craig Baxter aren't from yesterday as well, they know how to race. So interesting to see what these guys will produce. For the moment it's Craig Baxter, who is already sniffing the podium position after, you know, just 3 laps, but you know, it would be a career best for him in FSR. Jeroen Kwekel is unbeatable this season, basically unbeatable, except by a few lucky and, you know, unfortunate situations for Jeroen, but nevertheless, he can still come second best, Craig Baxter is. Let's carry a lot of speed onto the main straight. There's a little bit of a gap developing between the Schauer and Falcon right there. And I think Jax Wengler is gonna make a dash for it right now. He has to get turn 4 right on the edge and conserve the momentum, and he is trying so, but didn't hit that apex really great. Falcon is not gonna do it with Baxter, I assume. And same for Wengler and Schauer. So same for them as well. They finally decided to retire as well after that unfortunate suspension damage. Nothing he could do. I believe he was just a passenger along the way. Unfortunate debut for him in FSR racing, but you know, that's sometimes how it goes, unfortunately. But the next track is obviously Suzuka. You see him back right there, and maybe with a Q2 spot this time. Jax Wengler really struggling on the steering wheel. He's twisting and turning it, but he has to be sure of, he has to be careful that his tires won't, you know, last only 5 or 6 laps. Because it's a demanding circuit if you overpush your car. He's showing balanced and steady at the moment, but well, he already made that mistake after lap 2. And here we go with Sander Callas. Who got overtaken there almost by Jonathan Echea. Manages to defend properly. Great driving from the pair of them. Jonathan Echea already into P10. Great job from him. He's definitely one of the guys who capitalized on the early crash. But Jeroen Kwekel 8 seconds into the lead after 5 laps. He's gonna lap everyone on this race. It's gonna be insane. Craig Baxter now coming under pressure of Adrian Falcon in the DRS zone. Craig the only guy without the DRS. But he still has the top speed to persevere into P2. And I think Jax Wengler is hitting himself quite hard on his head right now, because you see what the dirty air can do to you. What happened there with Eugene from Logenberg, who is sideways? If we go on board with him. he just forgets to brake. He forgets to brake, it seems. He's forgetting where reverse is, unfortunately for him. Maybe a screen freeze, his teammate Pashalis Gergis says to me, but might be that way. The only fact of the matter is that he is in P11 right now, and hopefully for him he can continue on. Screen freezes are a major issue, and Henry Hampson is getting under pressure, or put some pressure onto Jonathan Lecce and Juan Sanchez. Ooh, Jonathan Lecce is so close to the back of Juan Sanchez, it's insane. Always like Carlos Sainz did in Singapore last week. And I think it's a matter of seconds before Jonathan Lecce parks his car into a gap, because he's way faster than Juan Sanchez is. Juan Sanchez actually crashed right now. Ho ho ho, here we go, Oren. Here we go, and he just misses his steering in point and crashes into the wall next to the bridge, or under the small tunnel, the Singapore tunnel. He is going to the pits though, but that was, I think, a lack of concentration there. Juan Sanchez can do much better than this, but yeah. Jonathan Lecce now onto Sander Callas. Sander Callas putting already a defensive line into turn 4, and he is compromised a little bit on his exit by himself. Jonathan Lecce now with a better top speed, it seems, and DRS. Is it going to be a overtaking maneuver from him? He's certainly going in for the gap, but he leaves enough space for Sander Callas to return. It was a little bit weird though, because Sander didn't defend. He didn't defend the corner there, but that's why Jonathan thought, okay, I'm going for it. But on the outside line, Sander was just safe. In front of the field, it's still the same train with Craig Baxter, Adrian Falcon, Christoph Schroer and Jax Wengler, but they are already 10 seconds shy of Jeroen Kwekel. 10 seconds in 6 laps. It's absolutely insane. In Dutch we would say gekkenwerk. It's crazy. Crazy people's work, literally converted. Nevertheless, they are still fighting every inch of the way. Christopher Schroer did lose a little bit of momentum there, but the straight is just too darn short for Jax to get a move in there. And even though you want the highest downforce you can possibly get on circuits like these, it's still nice to have a little bit of top speed over the rest of the pack, since, as we are seeing, overtaking is really difficult. Jax Wengler is going into the pit, it seems. He pushed his pit light on and he is trying the undercut for these guys in the front with Craig Baxter and Schroer. Falcon ever so close onto the back of Baxter. Really curious to see if Jax goes into the pit this lap or he waits another lap. Obviously did have that spin, did have that extra tire wear that cost him severely. Jeroen Kwekel steady in the lead. Nothing to fear. Like a lion in the jungle. So Jax Wengler now getting a little bit caught up with Christopher Schroer, because Schroer is, dropping a little bit to Falcon and Baxter. But if Jax goes into the pit right now and he can stay out 1 or 2 laps. Jeroen is into the pit as well. So the race leader being the first into clean air, nevertheless, that makes a pit stop. So here comes Jax Wengler into the pit as well. So Craig Baxter effectively leading this race, but not for long, I'm sure, since Kwekel is on fresh rubber. So Wengler, where will he drop back to? It will be P6. He has to hurry to not make it P7 though. There you go, there you go. Going back on the super soft tires, and he has fresh air in front of him now. And obviously his aim is to get Christoph Schroer, Adrian Falcon all together, and Craig Baxter, by the way. Maybe here's where the strategic point of view will kick in. And Craig and Adrian might do, you know, another extra pit stop, but you know, or not another pit stop, but do one less. I wanted to say, but you know, it's really hard to conserve your tires. Definitely, if you're battling with someone like Adrian Falcon all the way, it's gonna be tough to conserve some tire life. So it's really going to be do or die for Jax here. Going for the undercut on the other drivers, and Craig and Falcon are not showing to have their pit light on. That's only for the moment. A little bit surprised actually after 7 laps, so basically beginning of lap 8, that Jeroen decided it's time for a new fresh set of rubber. Obviously he's the champion with still 4 races to go after this, so I'm sure he will know best. Christoph Schroer is falling back tremendously now compared to Falcon. So the thing that he can do is try to make a pit stop now as well. It's 9 laps into the race, after this it's lap 10. Now might pit 1 or 2 laps earlier in order to catch up to Baxter and Falcon. Just like Falcon can't overtake Baxter, he's you know, basically a little bit stuck behind him. But you know, overtaking is another thing. You know, you can get to some driver, but if you can't overtake him, then you know, like in Monaco, it's going to be a hard cookie. So Jeroen Kwekel now 6 seconds behind Craig Baxter with already a pit stop under his belt, and onto the prime tires, the harder compound. Still a soft compound though, we are racing with super soft and soft. And Falcon has his pit light on, and is Craig Baxter responding to that? Let's see now. Falcon realizes that an undercut would be the ideal situation here. Schroer doesn't have his pit light on as well. Now we can compare Falcon obviously with Jax Wengler, who pitted after lap 7. And is Jax Wengler gonna make the undercut work? I'm pretty sure he is. So let's see now. Under the bridge he is, whilst Adrian Falcon is stationary right about now. Overshoots his pit box as well. Oh my god, this is gonna cost him. This is gonna cost him big time. And Jax Wengler now overtook Adrian Falcon into the pits and is already seconds away from him. Also cost the Falcon like 2 or 3 seconds to reverse back into the pit like a true Nigel Mansell. And now it's Jax Wengler's turn to get rid of David Cook, who he should be doing in this straight right now. Cook is going defensive, leaves the outside open. Here we go. Wengler on the outside and Cook is a goner. Didn't want to fight much with Wengler, knowing he is on the fresher compound of rubber, of the fresher set of tires. Ghost Speed at the moment dominating this race with Jeroen Kwekel. It seems that Jax Wengler didn't throw the towel into the ring just yet. And Baxter is doing a superb job at the moment. Is he going to the pit? Yes, he is this lap. And Christoph Schroer is doing so as well. So yes, they have 3 laps over with Jax Wengler by pitting later. Jax Wengler obviously makes the cut work at the moment, but he might get a little bit of a problematic late race. Have to see about that. But for the moment he is getting back into P2, all because he pitted in lap 7 and he used his head. But yeah, Kwekel back in the lead, Jax Wengler where he started into P2. And look at that undercut right there. Craig Baxter is coming out of the pit right now. And even though he got held up a little bit behind David Cook, Jack Swangler, he still gets the job done. But Adrian Falcon here from the outside to Craig Baxter makes the undercut work with only 1 lap difference. And this is everything that Adrian Falcon has looked for. Both have DRS right now. But Baxter with the better top speed here on the outside, pretty much impossible to overtake here. And he realizes it as well. And I believe Falcon is getting loose from Baxter right this second. Seems that he had a little bit of a better pace than Baxter had in his car. And after 2 or 3 corners, it's instantly showing. Falcon is the quicker of the two on this circuit at least. Schroeder decided it's time for the prime compound. And Eugene from Loggenburg, if we switch to the battle for P11, is getting overtaken by Henry Hampson. Tries to overtake him back again. It's, well, just going correctly there. Nice battle, all for bragging rights, not really for points. And Henry Hampson in full attack mode. Already have 6 DNFs this race. Kanata Carpenter, Dewald Nels, Pascal Chapon, David O'Reilly and Dave Paling. And the race this morning in Suzuka was the 5th race only where there were no DNFs. Basically, there was 1 DNF, but you still get qualified, classified 4 or 5 laps before the end of the race. Only happened 5 times in the entire history of Formula 1 that there were no DNFs. Valencia 2011 was another most boring race of the century, millennium even. But now this is getting a little bit boring as well. If we watch the pace of Jeroen Kwekel, he is just superb here. Henry Hampson now diving into turn 1 onto Andrea Racconi. Racconi has no other decision than to make way for the determined Henry Hampson. And he makes himself a top 10 classifier at the moment. With Jonathan Ache down the road. Let's see what he can do. Already a nice job from him though. Ooh, and Andrea Racconi onto the straight, almost crashing. Really twitchy with the steering wheel there. Scared to see him drive actually. It's coming from De Jong even. Let's see now. Falcon, Baxter, Schroeder are all in a league of their own at the moment. They're all into their own zone. And Sander Kahl is doing absolutely a fantastic job in P6 after he has started last on the grid. Basically with the back of the grid, so maybe second last or whatever. He is showing that he is still determined for this second position in the championship. Let's see who joined the TeamSpeak channel. Do we have another commentator?
David O'Reilly joining you after my early departure, Chris.
Ah, so that's it. You thought like, I'm not gonna race anymore, I'm just gonna make not life miserable for Chris on the screen.
Well, you're my idol, Chris. I figure if I crashed early, I should do what you do and commentate.
Yeah. I wasn't welcome yesterday though. They already had Sutton. Boo-hoo, no, but Sutton is a really nice guy. Yeah, going back to the race, unfortunate for your DNF in lap 2. There was a big pileup in turn 3 in lap 1. Can you explain us what happened there? How was your...
well, fortunately I wasn't in that one because I qualified 15th, which wasn't brilliant. I figured I was going to be in the middle of a big mess, so I took the decision to start from pit lane.
Yeah. So
I drove past the aftermath of that, and I started 22nd, and I think after 1 lap I was coming P15 because of all the first lap issues. And the car felt pretty good actually, and I quickly caught my teammate Pascal, and I got a DRS shot
you
on
guys
Pascal.
hit each other off, right? Not the first time this season. This is like Austria this year.
Yeah, this time I think I'm innocent.
Yeah. Well, that's for Mike Partington to decide after the race. It's all okay.
Yeah, and my team boss as well.
Dmitry Zarov is getting left and does so out of the book. gets out of the way of the leader of this race, Kwekel, and well, basically showing an example of how it should be done. Kwekel now already lapped his first contestant after lap 14, and well, at this rate he is maybe even overtaking P8 Christian Bufumu at before the end of this race. It's for us to find out, obviously. Sanderkal has made his way into the pit, and David Cook is still driving in P6, which is good.
Yeah, that's about the highest up David's been this early in a race, I think, this season. He's my teammate.
Yeah, he could have started from P6 or P7 in Spa, but he decided to start it for the pit lane instead. Still makes my head turn, but you know, every decision it's his own decision, obviously.
Yeah, I think David had a few DNFs in the opening lap or two in a row, and decided it was just too big a risk unless he had a sensational qualifying position and was confident of turn one. He played it a bit safe.
Yeah.
So to get P5 from the pit lane start possibly meant it wasn't a bad call, really, when you look at this.
And Henry Harrison is a DNF. Let's go back on the replay with him in sector 1. Goes on the end of the straight, loses the car on the curves, tries to correct it, but plants his car on the right side of the track into the barriers, and that's a DNF. Well, I'm happy to see someone at least pressing escape and not continuing onwards without wings and whatever. So unfortunate for Henry Harrison. He seemed like he had, well, reasonable pace at least. He was fighting his way up, but nevertheless we have our, what is it, 7th DNF of the day, and I don't think it will stop any day soon. The concentration part of the concentration issue will play parts in the later stages of the race, I am sure.
There's an amazing track concentration wise, Chris. It reminds me a lot of Monaco. You just get into this zone where you arrive and you think, how am I going to possibly go fast here? And then 100 laps later you just get into this trance-like state, and the walls just seem to move away for you, and you just find that line that gives you that pace. But one lapse of concentration and away from what you're doing, and the walls are very close again.
Yeah, definitely, well said. And well, personally I think it's a more horrible version than Monaco. I really enjoyed Monaco. Unfortunately it's not on the calendar right now. I don't think it's really nice to have it on FSRs, but pretty boring races. But for a driver's perspective it's an absolutely fabulous track, since you're that close to the wall, and the design is really classical, and you know it has something. But Singapore, maybe in 20 or 30 years we'll say the same about Singapore. We'll see. But
yes, there's something special about Monaco. Even the names evoke passion, don't they? You know, when you talk about the names of the corners, and Mirabeau Hort and Mirabeau Base and Rascasse and Tabac, they just all evoke the passion and the history of that circuit. It's just so rich in history. It's an amazing place to drive.
Well, certainly better than just giving a track numbers in the corner, but it's all okay. Really looking forward to the Mexican Grand Prix in real Formula 1 as well. Although I do think that Thielke just anally raped it a little bit, but you know, that's Thielke's job sometimes, and well, unfortunately he did the same with Mexico, but you know, might prove to be a nice race. For the moment though, this is turning out to be well, a nice race for a little bit. I mean, Adrian Falcon, Baxter, Schroer were battling that hard with each other until Jack Wengler made the smart move of performing an undercut, and he is getting into the zone right now. I don't see Wengler struggling as he did earlier on in the race, and well, you didn't notice obviously because you were still driving, but Wengler did have a spin in lap 2 of the race, which cost him 3 positions back then. So.
Oh, okay. I'm noticing that the Canadian driver Jonathan Ethier, I hope that's the way you say it, he's in P8, so that's a good position for him to be in at this stage of the race. And I think if he holds on to his form, that might be a best result for him this season.
Yeah, and definitely. I mean, Canada will be proud, and the flag will be hung out in Canada tomorrow, I can tell you. Canadians. Oh my god, awesome people. Sander Callas though, after his pit stop, still in P7 and he's on a relatively fresh set of tires now. I hear someone crash again. Did you hear it as well?
No.
Who was it? Maybe my ears are a little bit bigger, I don't know. But not really a jumbo here. Or maybe it was a little bit of slide contact, but
might have been my mouse click here. I've got a bit of a funny old microphone.
It's all okay. Jax Wengler now, he is going into the pits once more. 10 laps ago he did the same. So let's see. I'm curious to see if Jeroen Kwekel will follow him. Obviously he will not know Jax is pitting, but Jax is trying to perform an undercut.
Yeah, 6 laps back, sorry, 6.5 seconds back is kind of at the extreme when it's a guy like Kwekel. I think you'd need to be a little closer in, and especially when you consider Kwekel is on primes now.
If we can go, sorry to undercut you, but if we can go on board with Kwekel, if we weren't already, that's safe out of the barrier there. That's some quality driving right there. Holy moly. Kwekel just getting it outside of the barriers and maybe looking time to pit as well. Wengler still has his pit light on, but he is inching closer every lap on Kwekel. Obviously with the undercut he hasn't yet, you know, lost his fighting spirit. Kwekel is on the soft compound though, Wengler is on the super softs. That will come into play as well.
Well indeed, and Wengler hasn't run the prime, so it looks to me like he could be on for a 3-stop.
Yeah, it might be that way. Oh, and he overshoots his pit box. We've seen Adrian Falcon doing that. It's gonna cost him at least 1.5 or 2 seconds. Tiny mistakes that cost, you know, thousands of a second. But yeah, unfortunately for him, that's a driver mistake, and it's Christoph Schroer into the wall and tries to turn the car around, but fails horribly. And what happened there? He just went into turn 1, as we hopefully can see, braked early and got caught out on the curb and just lost the car completely. His tires are completely flat spotted, I can guarantee, and he's missing a wing end plate. Holy moly, that is not good for him and for his race.
And when did he last pit? Just looking at him now.
Well, like 9 laps ago, and he's on the soft tire, so it shouldn't be that much of a worry. But yeah, he's definitely coming into the pit between now and 2 or 3 laps. His tires are shattered. Hopefully his downforce levels didn't decrease that much, because he did lose his front left wing end plate by trying to spin the car around. And he is struggling at the moment. Jax Wengler now into the zone, as you described earlier, and he still didn't give up on the win. Jeroen Kwekel, our leader in the race, is in the pit, and will he go back onto the super soft tires? Indeed he will. So 12 laps he did on the soft tire. So Adrian Falcon now into the lead of this race, but still has to make his pit stop where Jeroen Kwekel already did it. Comes out the pits now, and Craig Baxter is behind him. Jax Wengler behind him, who had a little bit of a difficulty there with a back marker. But Felix van Delft, well, managed to get out of the way on time. Let's say that. Adrian Falcon now leading this race, but still has to make his pit stop, and it will be just momentarily where he will lead this race. And it will be just a few moments away from getting overtaken, but maybe going into the pit as well. Cover off the guys behind him. He's now in pretty severe traffic as leader of the race. Will Barnes and Andrea Racconi still have to make way for it. Come on, there's a blue flag hanging on for you guys. There you go, you got 3 corners. There goes Will Barnes. Will Barnes, whatever. Craig Baxter now onto Will Barnes. Has to take an avoiding line there. But Will Barnes definitely did everything he could do. in order to get out of the way. So it's basically really messed up if you're a back marker and you're in a fight with someone and the leader of the race is coming through. You know, you have to make way, but you know, where are you gonna do it? So Quakel now onto the back of Adrian Falcon with fresh new super soft rubber. He is gonna make a run for it in sector 1, I can guarantee you. He's easing up a little bit, getting closer and closer, looking for that apex to get earlier on the throttle than Falcon. And even before Falcon goes in the pit, he will be taken off by Jeroen Quakel. A little bit of a twitchy moment from both of them though, but Jeroen Quakel has DRS. Here he goes. Onto the inside, nice dummy move from him. Falcon on the outside, pushed to the outside by Quakel, and a fabulous move by Quakel, getting him back into the lead. Instantly the pit light goes on for Adrian Falcon, and he will be the one getting out of this train, because behind him Craig Baxter is still fighting. Let's see now, Jax Wangler already made his pit stop some laps ago, obviously, 3 laps ago exactly.
And Quakel, although he's made an extra stop over and above Falcon and Baxter, they're basically in the same situation now. They've all got to do one more stop. So he's used his pace to buy himself an extra stop essentially and give himself another stint on the super softs.
Yeah, and I'm really curious if Craig Baxter can continue on. I mean, if he can manage another 5 or 6 laps, he will definitely see the end of the finish line with the next best fresh set of tires. He just needs one more pit stop as well, but
yeah, definitely. I mean, you can. It's doable from lap 21 actually. On the prime. The prime's very, very strong here on low fuel.
Well, Jax Wangler is not going to get this podium out of his head, and Adrian. Oh wait, Christopher Schroer DNF. What happened there? Oh, he just went straight over the chicane, and well, even Quakel would say a rage quit. He just parked his car, pressed escape, and thought, okay, this is enough. Not a really good day for Christopher Schroer, but you know, sometimes there are bad days, sometimes there are good days. And Felix himself is into the pit as well, but he's obviously already the one that down. I thought he might park his car into the pit as well.
So it looks like Falcon's going to run it from here on the prime. I think we just had Falcon pit, didn't we?
That's a ballsy move, but could work. He doesn't have any more room to battle then in terms of tire degradation. He just has to stay in his personal zone and just get it over, you know, and try to maintain a decent pace, not really push too hard, get his tires properly conserved, and he might be able to challenge for a podium in the end.
Yes, the prime, the soft tyre here, takes a good couple of laps to get on song. It's really a different feel when you exit the pits on the super soft. They just feel beautiful from about turn 3, but the primes just feel a little bit off until you've got a good lap and a half, 2 laps under you, and the temperatures come in, and then they start to feel good, and they stay very consistent for the next sort of 12 laps. So they're really good once they're on song. But you've just got to be wary for the first couple of laps, but at the same time you need to push to get the temperature into them.
Well, 12 laps, that's a huge distance if your name is Chris de Jong. I mean, it's almost mission impossible there.
Yeah, one of our guys got a 17 lap final stint out of the primes.
Yeah, well, let's see what these drivers can do. Craig Baxter now getting under severe pressure by Jax Wangler, who has obviously pitted well earlier than Craig did. So he is certainly gonna get the DRS, that's for sure, and this will be a no-brain pass. Ooh, Wangler, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing?
Yeah, he's managed.
DRS, just losing the amount of grip. I don't know if we got that on the onboard shot, but during the DRS zone, he tried to steer a little bit too severely and almost lost the car. And Baxter was realizing it as well. He must have been scared as hell there. But nevertheless, it wouldn't get a beauty prize, but he is true effectively. He is now in P2, and he has to pray for Jeroen Quakel to make a mistake of some sort, because otherwise he will not win this race.
And Wengler seems to like the primes because that's his second set for today. Started on the options and then 2 sets of primes.
Well, maybe he's going extra ballsy and gonna finish the race after his pit stop in lap 18. It would be a little bit too much of it, I think. 19 laps on Singapore. I mean, in our little sim racing community, that is. In real life, they easily do 25 laps. Oh well, but real Formula 1 is an endurance race with turbos and...
I read that, yeah. Baxter's pitting now, so he's on schedule. It's going to be an easy run home with the prime now.
Well, I hope for his sake you are right, because Adrian Falcon, you know, he is gonna get overtaken by him. But you know, if Falcon is not pinning again, then you know this is basically the gap that Falcon has compared to Baxter. Not really the biggest gap though. It'll be like what, 5-6 seconds?
Yeah. Falcon's on 2 lap old primes. Yeah, okay. Well, you never know. Baxter might have a little bit more tyre performance left in the closing stages.
That might come into play, I don't know. I mean, we still got 14 or 13 and a half laps to go. Falcon is looking strong. At least he's trying his heart out, basically, to do anything in his possibilities, and also in strategic terms to make this work. But then, if you look at the pit stops where Falcon lost 2 seconds as well because he had to reverse his car, he missed his pit slot. If you give a driver 2 more seconds in situations like these, I mean, they would pay money for that. I mean, 2 seconds, it's huge. But it's part that makes us human, obviously. But I'm sure he's hitting his own head for that mistake right now.
Well, Falcon certainly got the primes working because he's just done his fastest lap of the race, a 1:42.290 on the prime tyre. So it looks like he, just according to the script, he spent a couple of laps getting them into a good zone, and now he's doing personal bests.
Yeah, let's see how this will unfold indeed. I mean, apart from the race win, it's almost certain that Jong will do it. No way he will lose 1.5 seconds a lap or anything near a second. He has only he only has to conserve his own tires and drive a steady pace. Then everything will be fine. And interesting to see though, before the first pit stops, there were a bunch of drivers like Wengler, Falcon, Baxter, and back then still Christoph Schroer, who were fighting it all along with a nice pack of 4 drivers. Since the race is getting further and further, the different calls and the different strategies clearly show what is best at the moment. Although Jax Wengler had supreme pace, he was stuck behind those drivers in P5, managed to do the undercut after pitting in lap 7 with his first pit stop, and then just driving off from there. But the damage had already been done, and well, it's basically second best that he can achieve today if Quakel doesn't make mistakes. And still a very good result, but I think he would be reasonably happy with that.
Well, indeed. Jonathan Ethier, Canadian driver, just leaving the pits now after his stop. But yes, indeed, and the form that Quakel's on, the lovely thing is when you've got the pace that he's got, especially on a street circuit like this, he hasn't got to take any risks. He hasn't had to do anything clever or risky with tyre strategy, so he's on lovely tyres the whole race long. We're doing a 3-stop, so he's got good tyres, he's got a comfortable gap, so he hasn't got to try to do anything too edgy and invite the walls any closer than they need to be.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, but a mistake is still easily made by any of these drivers.
Exactly.
Even Quakel didn't drive clean earlier this season in WC, that is, where he was P2 in Australia. Tremendous race there, but crashed out unfortunately. So he is still human, despite his dominance throughout the season. So Sander Callas is in the pit. It's going to be his last pit stop with 12 laps to go. And well, starting from back of the grid, I think Sander is doing a fantastic job. Has to keep it composed and together, and he will get that P5.
Yeah, that's a nice drive from a back of grid. Just noticing Baxter now is doing PBs as well on the prime tyre. He's down into the 142.166s, just about a tenth of a second quicker than Falcon on best lap, but on last lap he's about 0.85 quicker than Falcon. So we might manage to chip away at that gap a little bit, just depending on how good the two of them, comparatively speaking, are at driving fast on the prime and but keeping it in good condition.
Yeah, definitely. Adrian Falcon catching up to Andrea Racconi. The backmarker has to get out of the way now, and he does so brilliantly. So no sweat there.
Yes, it was one of the things about this track, because it's very twisty and there's not many sort of, I guess, passing spots, but as a backmarker, which I've got some experience at, Chris, you may not be aware, but it provides plenty of places for just a little lift and let them through. There's a lot of short little straights there where you can just, as Rick Rassoni did then, you can just move to the left, lift, and the job's done.
Yeah, just go a little bit offline and then it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Which is easy to do at these, in the lower speed sections, of course.
Definitely.
A bit harder to do in, say, Eau Rouge or Blanchimont.
Yeah, nightmare situations there. No, but yeah, only 8 drivers still on the lead lap of this race, and Christian Bufumo is not going to last on the lead lap, I can guarantee. But you know, getting that by Quakel, it's a driver with a lot of talent, and like I said earlier on during the start of the broadcast here, I'm really curious to see what he can do next year in the WC team. I believe he's going to Origin or Zero Race or whatever.
Very exciting prospect, and I think a fantastic signing. I'm not sure if it's public knowledge yet, the team that he's going to be driving with for next year, but a very exciting signing for them, because it means they've got a quick driver, and he's also got such a huge fan base that it's a wonderful publicity machine. It's a bit like signing Alonso. You know, you've got a quick guy who's got a massive fan base, and to have a guy like that in your team rather than somebody who's fast but perhaps a little bit anonymous, it's a bit of a master signing.
Though, Fernando Alonso. I mean, he does get paid like 35 million a year, and that's for driving a basically shitty Honda engine. I mean, the car for McLaren is brilliant, absolutely, it's a good car, but the engine is just, you know, like in Suzuka, during the measurement point, the speed trap before 130R, it was 15 kilometers compared to the Mercedes.
Well, and I think
that's half a second you lose alone on that straight.
And no one's going to disagree with that. I think any avid Formula One watcher would agree with that. But the thing that was incredible was that there at Honda's home race, a driver who they're paying 40 million a year basically got on the radio and said that their engine was rubbish.
Yeah, so no, it was worse than that. He literally made the GP2 engine,
so he really couldn't have done more to insult the Japanese, and they don't like that. So that says to me he's got one foot out the door.
No. Well, it shows me that he is disappointed, and you can only get disappointed if you have high hopes.
Yeah.
So he's really, you know, he's competitive, but it's the engine that lacks the competitiveness. And but he still cares enough to be that frustrated. You know, it says a lot.
Yeah, but Alonso is particularly astute and too clever to have said that in public like he did, without having an agenda.
Yeah, but frustration takes over in that aspect.
Possibly.
I mean, we don't really have that issue in FSR. Obviously, we all have the same material. It's a matter of driver input and setup. And talking about driver inputs, Jeroen Quakel is into the pit right now. Will Jacques Wengler follow as well?
Well, yes, there we are.
Basically, he already went to the pit a lap earlier. Sorry, I didn't see. So Jeroen Quakel is just covering off, and well, no chance that Wengler is getting any closer. Maybe by a second this lap, but you know, Quakel is already out of the pits into turn 3, and Wengler still is going to turn 1 right now. He's trying. If he didn't make that mistake, he might have you know, been in a more or in a less compromising spot. But it's all to do with his own input. He made the spin, and that's the thing. I mean, if you're already getting out of your concentration in lap 2, then you obviously have an issue. It's just a driver error. Like no worries there, but.
Yeah, Yes, indeed, and a driver like Quakel puts that sort of pressure on you, because you know that if you're going to try to take it to him and mix it with Quakel for a win, you've got to give absolutely 100%, not 99%. So the margins are so tiny, and that's one of the things about Quakel's class, is that if you've beaten him, you've had a very, very good day, and it puts people on edge if they're up there racing with him. So
true. That's what I wanted to say indeed. I mean, if he after lap 2 already saw, like, okay, he's getting 10 each
Has
corner.
Has Quakel crashed?
No. Oh my God, we have seen a mistake. And there is Quakel out of the race. Holy shit.
Now, I saw another wreck in front of him.
That is a horrible disconnect or screen freeze.
Screen freeze. He's had a screen freeze.
Oh my God, that is so horrible for the young Dutchman. That is so horrible for the young Dutchman.
Just when we're singing his praises.
Yeah, he's still stationary on the track though, and he is now into the pit. Instant transmission into the pit. It's really unfortunate. Next to him, Eugene from Doggenburg also retires, but obviously in the lead of the race, crashing, having a screen freeze like that, getting robbed by a win, by your own, I wouldn't say wrongdoing, but maybe a Windows update came up, like reminder, we're gonna update soon, like it's
it's a great shame.
Situations.
It's a great shame if you're coming 10th. It's a huge shame if you're winning a race and winning it so dominantly. And so Wengler's now running first, so he could be having a fantastic opportunity today by virtue of Quakel's DNF, and that's unfortunately just one of those things with the way we race. I think you were saying before, the fantastic thing about Formula Sim racing is every car is identical in performance, and it's just down to the driver and how well he can extract the performance from the car with setup, etc.
Jeroen Quakel just messages me. He's saying I had a black screen. It took a few seconds before the screen came back again. So, and I hear Pashalis Gergis on the stream of our broadcast for today. Yet again, thank you, Pashalis. No, joking. But he is having the same problems. Morgan Morant is having the same problems as them as well. So it's a known issue. Some drivers in my team also have it, but they only have it once every 3 hours. But unfortunately for Quakel, it happened on not on the straight. But it's really unfortunate. We all had situations like that. I mean, I remember last year where Jim Paresis actually went viral with his race in Germany when his screens fell off his rig. So that was unfortunate as well. And he made a big crash there, but those things happen, unfortunately. And unfortunately for Jeroen, it's a win that's being taken away from him. He's basically giving it unintentionally to Jax or to Jacques or whatever you pronounce that name. But it's still sour. I mean, if you're dead last, then it doesn't really matter, But if you're leading this race basically from start to finish, well then, it's really unfortunate for all that effort to be undone by a simple mechanical failure in terms of a computer or whatever.
Yeah, no, real shame, and shout out to Jeroen. Sorry that happened to you there, fella. Now I'm just looking back, Baxter and Falcon. It's metronomic. These guys are just matching each other lap time for lap time. It looks to me like Falcon's just in a good place and managing the gap to Baxter. So I think the best Baxter can hope for is a podium, which no one's going to sneeze at in Pro, pardon me.
Well, the same thing with the black screen happened to Eugene. Really, really weird, because Eugene from Swagenburg is also DNF. So Jeroen Quakel ends this race in a disappointing, unlucky, unfortunate 13th position with obviously his retirement of this race, which means there are still just 12 drivers from 22 in this race, and Jeff Wengler is leading for this win. 6 laps are yet to go,
and only 7 on the lead lap. So it was a rich opportunity for some points for the mid-pack guys, says David, somewhat melancholy.
Yeah, and for Force Canada, of course, with Jonathan HJ. You know,
Yes, indeed, Jonathan P7.
commentator cursing coming. Within 2 laps, he's in the wall. No, I'm gonna knock on wood here 3 times for him. I mean, didn't mean that. David Cook is going into the pit as well for a splash and dash, so to speak. 46 seconds behind the leaders of the race. That's gonna use a little bit more. Who was that? I hear the big crash. Or is it just rFactor 2 playing stupid? Will Barnes is upside down on the main straight.
Oh, and back in the pits.
Holy moly! Did he have a screen freeze as well? I'm gonna ask him. You entertain the viewers with a nice dance or something. I don't know.
Okay, well, while Chris is doing that, I'll just run through the order. It's there on the screen for you. But still running, we've got Dmitry Zarov now in 10th place, and so in fact we can say now that all finishers will score points in this race. Juan Sanchez in 9th. Andrea Rizzoni, I hope that's the right pronunciation, Andrea, in 8th place. And then on the lead lap, Jonathan Ethier from Team Canada, or Force Canada, in 7th place, 1 minute 38 back. Christian Brafumo in P6, 1 minute 26. David Cook, my teammate, shout out to David, in P5, with a margin of 1 minute and 8 seconds. Sander Callis in 4th, and that's from a back of grid position, so Sander has driven very, very well indeed, 32 seconds from the podium. Craig Baxter in a secure looking 3rd place at the moment. Adrian Falcon in 2nd place, 10 seconds behind Jacques Wengler, who's leading the race. It looks like Cook just did a bit of an insurance pit stop, really, because he was on a 2-stop strategy. But David's an intelligent racer. He's looked at the margin and realised that he's not going to catch the guy in front. He's got a lot of comfort to the guy behind, and he's just decided, well, I may as well throw.
I'm not getting a pedal in Spa like a last lap.
Fresh off. Yeah.
He doesn't want the tires to blow. That's not going to happen.
Maybe he wants to do a fast lap, but he's got fresh super soft for the last six laps. So.
No, east.
Oh. What's happened now?
I don't know. But yeah, David Cook having a
Thanks for the feedback about my accent, guys. I can go further Australian if you want, but a lot of you will stop understanding me. So I'll use my sort of anglicised Australian accent because more people can understand it. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the Mount Panorama circuit. Anybody who hasn't raced the Mount Panorama Bathurst circuit in rFactor 2, you are missing out big time. And just while the guys are getting to the fastest part of the race with their low fuel loads and a beautifully rubbered-in track, I'll just mention 1 or 2 things about this simulation. For those who aren't aware, and I know a lot of the viewers are avid rFactor 2 users, those of you who perhaps don't drive rFactor 2, it's lovely to know that this car has the most incredibly authentic tyre model. You can flat spot a tyre, you can overheat tyres. The way you set the car up influences tyre wear, influences grip. So everything you do at the setup stage and at the driving stage has an outcome at your tyres. So it's incredibly immersive when you've really got to manage tyres, not pretend that you manage them, but you've really got to do the things you need to do to manage your tyres properly, which makes it very exciting. Here in Pro, we're running default weather, which is 29 degrees and dry, which ironically is around about the current weather in Singapore anyway. But in Ace and Pro, it's incredibly exciting. We run real-world, real-time weather based on a local weather station in Singapore. It's fed directly into the server, and if it starts raining in Singapore, a couple of minutes later it starts raining here in our race. So the team, the engineers, have actually got to keep one eye on the real-world weather in Singapore. So it's not some scripted decision that somebody in a darkened room decides, well, we're going to have a thunderstorm.
So it's not like we're getting a rain race in Bahrain.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So it's the real weather in Singapore. So if you're watching the championship race after this one, you can dial into Wonderground, which is a weather map service, look at a Singapore weather station, and you can see the forthcoming weather and stay one step ahead of the race engineers and the drivers. So both the Ace and the Championship drivers now, they've got to practice on wet tyres for every race, except as Chris says, probably Bahrain be a little bit unnecessary. But it's there's a high chance of a thunderstorm late in the championship race today, actually.
Blimey me! Hopefully the helicopter can still run, right?
Yeah,
no, but it's going to be interesting. I mean, for me, it can rain. I mean, might be some drivers that might make a decision like Kimi Raikkonen did in Sepang 2000, what was it, 10 or 9, whatever, where he went on rain tires when it was a dry track. Nevertheless, he's the most overrated driver anywhere. I mean, come at me. I mean, he's just, you know, he should be still at Sauber.
Most popular driver in Formula 1.
I don't care, he's overrated. Vettel makes it clear. Alonso made it clear as well, but you know, Vettel also makes it clear that Kimi Raikkonen is just the second. He's just playing the second violin. You know, it's all okay. He's still 10 times a better driver than will ever be, I'm sure, and 12 times better than myself. No, it's all okay. Jack Wengler though, back to the race, he's having basically a 2-lap sprint race to the finish flag. Adrian Falcon, if he stays on this position, will pick up a nice podium finish as well. And Craig Baxter, with a little bit of luck with the falling out with the retirement of Jeroen Kwekel, is gonna take that last podium spot that obviously deserves some bragging rights. Nevertheless, I hope he will, because Baxter's a nice guy as well. But you know, being nice doesn't give you podiums in FSR. There's no driver that is like, oh, you know, you're a nice guy, I'll just let you pass. You know, you'll take the podium. It's an epic, heavy battle until the last meters of this race, and the one that's proving that right now is Jack Wengler. He didn't quit after that first spin. He must have felt really unhappy with his own mistake earlier on in the race, but he made up for it, and with a little bit of luck, in technical terms, with Kwekel, he's gonna take
sorry Chris to cut across you there, but good call from Pashalis there, running the cameras. He's gone on board with Wengler. It looks like Wengler has critical low fuel. He's short shifting big time.
Oh yeah.
Trying to just get home to the finish.
Yeah, you're right. So the chaos isn't yet complete here in Singapore. Wengler is gonna get without fuel, it seems.
Now that would be oh no!
And Wengler, what are you doing, bro?
And that's the tricky thing when you start to short shift to save fuel. All your normal braking points, all your normal shift points.
Adrian Falcon is winning this race.
Yep.
He's gonna win this race. He's 1 lap short still. Holy! What's gonna happen here? He's already without.
Falcon's going to get him. The pace is
he's
going.
Already got him.
Yep. There you go.
That engine is going to die out any minute soon now. Oh.
Yeah, his last lap was at 152. That's his 10 seconds off his peak pace.
And
what a shame, and what a terrible way to lose the win. I mean, you know, dare I say, probably not as nasty as Kwekel, who through no fault of his own, but short fueling yourself there. It's a terrible shame, but you have to take responsibility for the fuel level that you take on board.
Yeah, definitely, and he's using his clutch now in order to take everything.
He's coasting.
Possible. He's coasting with his clutch, and you know.
Well, Baxter's going to get him. Baxter's only 7 seconds back.
Definitely going to get him indeed, but he already lost the win, and that's something to live with. I mean, it's going to certainly put salt on his dinner tonight. I mean, this is just simply insane. Can Sander Callas even do something?
Yep. But the drama never ceases. We saw a couple of guys break their brake discs through undercooling in Ace, and this is, you know.
No, that doesn't matter right now. Jack Wengler still coasting on, but Adrian Falcon now absolutely staggered. I can imagine.
Baxter can see him now. Baxter's only about 70 meters behind him now as they enter sector 3, and Baxter is revving it like crazy. I think he's gonna get him.
Yeah, well, either Jack Wengler pushes the troller right now, or he won't.
He's going to have to do a Jack Brabham and push it over the finish line.
Yeah, and Adrian Falcon is almost onto the finish line. Is Jack Wengler going to do it though? That's the most tricky part. Holy shit.
He's on him.
Falcon is winning this race though.
The finish line is quite a long way down this straight as well.
They make contact! They make contact!
Craig.
Wangler gets hit by Craig Baxter. But Wangler is already stationary. Wangler is stationary.
His engine's gone.
Yeah, you go on. Okay, you do it.
He's rolled across the line with no engine whatsoever. Totally out of fuel. So dare I say it, that tap from Baxter, although it was unfortunate, probably can be forgiven because the other guys got no throttle on corner exit, which you tend to normally rely that people might apply the throttle on exit. And also it did not affect the outcome of the race because Wangler was just going to roll down that finish line as well. But anyway, we'll leave that to our experienced race director to decide.
Yeah, well, here's a decision for you. There was no way Craig could get around that. I mean, he just basically slowed down in the middle of the track because his engine stalled.
Yeah, you don't expect to come across somebody driving like they're driving in a shopping centre car park in the final turn of the final lap. So I think it'd be a harsh judge to penalise him for that. So Cook crossing the line for 5th. Well done, Cook. He looks very, very excited.
But credit to Adrian Falcon for winning this race, and who would have thought that? I mean, Jeroen Kweekel already DNF'd. That was a certain surprise here. Then it was the turn of Jack Wangler to have a go at it. But you know,
it's like Monaco '91 or whatever it was. I think 7 drivers ran out of fuel.
No, but coming as first over the finish, Adrian Falcon, it's going to boost his morale as well. And there's no way he could have expected this. And I'm sure he's staggeringly surprised. And Jax obviously did everything in his power to preserve the fuel when the moment came where he realized, okay, I'm not going to make this.
So Jonathan Ethier now crosses the line for 7th. Congratulations, Jonathan. Fantastic result. This is a brand new team and a brand new driver in FSR. I think Jonathan's only been with us for about 3 rounds. And I know that he's been putting in massive amounts of practice to come up to speed. So well done on that result, Jonathan.
Oh, you're giving him more credit than Adrian, man.
Well, I think Jonathan did 1,500 laps practice for Monza. So just want to give him a warm welcome.
Yeah, well, definitely. But certainly the driver of the day for me, well, certainly the certain fact that Jeroen Kweekel deserved to win on pure race pace, but having a black screen doesn't help to see where you're going, and then the walls are indeed very close to you. Jack Wangler, we all saw it happening, didn't win, has gotten himself a podium position, and on an empty tank, that's a pretty okay situation. I mean, if you're crossing the finish line, I mean, on an empty tank.
Yeah, exactly. We had a bit of drama in Melbourne, if you recall, in the 8th race. One driver lost a position through running out of fuel about 50 metres from the end. But goodness, Jacques looked like he did that last lap on about 1 litre of fuel. He'll get, Chris, I'm thinking we could give him the Volkswagen Fuel Consumption Award for this year, for this round.
Alright. No, but what a race it has been, what an action we have seen earlier on in the race. We all remember the lap 1 incident in turn 3 or 4. Where everything just went from bad to worse, and cars were like horizontally on the track, and it was mayhem. Did cost a few guys the race, and did cost a few guys some parts of their car. But it sometimes happens, and as further you are onto the grid, the lower the chances that you will find a guy in front of you on the track. And well, it's just gonna leave a fantastic perspective up for WC. That is starting in about an hour's time for now.
No, indeed, and amazing, Chris. We were sort of conversing about real-life Formula One and Alonso, etc., because things looked a little bit predictable 3-4 laps from the end, and suddenly the last 5 laps feel like they've taken about 10 seconds. It got incredibly exciting, not the least of which was due to Kweekel's unfortunate incident, and once again, very sorry that happened to Jeroen. But then Wangler got the lead. Wangler runs out of fuel. Falcon takes the win. Unbelievably exciting action.
Yeah, indeed, and hopefully we will get a lot more in an hour's time. Hopefully Morgan Morant has fixed his black screen issue, the same issue that Jeroen Kweekel had, and we will see an old school Morgan Morant back on the track.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that. I've been a Morgan Morant fan for 2-3 years now, so really looking forward to him coming back in against the current crop of guys, and seeing how they mix it up. Thanks very much for having me in the booth, Chris. Real pleasure again. Shame about the circumstances. I was hoping to get some points today, but you live and learn. Real pleasure working with you.
Yeah, same, mate. And well, to the viewers at home, we definitely hope to see you in an hour's time, where the big grand finale of this weekend is going to unfold. Will Morgan Moran take a victory on his return to Formula Sim racing, or will there be another freaking twister racing car on top? I mean, Frieder Briljak is brilliant all the season long. I haven't seen him make any mistake, basically, and you know, it's going to be a fun race, exciting race to watch. And you know, my advice and the advice from everyone here in the group is just be there. So I hope to see you in an hour's time. And for now, thanks for watching. See you in a bit. Bye bye.